All right, guys, the red book. This one's called The Desert. My soul leads me into the desert of my own soul. I did not think that my soul was a desert, a barren, hot desert, dusty and without drink. Have I lived too much outside of myself in men and events? Why did I avoid myself? Was I not dear to myself? But I have avoided the place of my soul. I was my thoughts after I was no longer events and other men. But I was not myself confronted with my thoughts. I should also rise up above my thoughts to own myself. It's fascinating. I had it highlighted, but I'm going to underline it. But I have avoided the place of my soul. I was my thoughts after I was no longer events and other men. Remember, he's aping Augustine. He wasn't being genuine. He was trying to prove himself. But I was not myself confronted with my thoughts. I should also rise above my thoughts to own myself. Was their self not as barren and desolate as mine? There they wrestled with the devil. I wrestle with waiting. It seems to me not less, since it is truly a hot hell. I had cultivated my spirit, the spirit of this time in me, but not that spirit of the depths that turns to the things of the soul, the world of the soul. The soul has its own peculiar world. Only the self enters in there, or the man who has completely become his self, he who is neither in events nor in men nor in his thoughts. Again, back to like maybe Schopenhauer's idea of separating yourself from the will, conquering the will. Through the turning of my desire from things in men, I turned myself away from things in men. But that is precisely how I became the secure prey of my thoughts. Yes, I wholly became my thoughts. I also had to detach myself from my thoughts through turning my desire away from them. Did you not see that when your creative force turned to the world, how the dead things moved under it and through it, how they grew and prospered, and how your thoughts flowed in rich rivers? If your creative force now turns to the place of the soul, you will see how your soul becomes green and how its fields bear wonderful fruit. Nobody can spare themselves the waiting, and most will be unable to bear this torment, like lacking patience, but will throw themselves with greed back at men, things, and thoughts, whose slaves they will become from then on. Since then, it will have been clearly proved that this man is incapable of enduring beyond things, men, and thoughts. And they will hence become his master, and he will become their fool, since he cannot be without them, not until even his soul has become a fruitful field. Also, he whose soul is a garden needs things, men, and thoughts, but he is their friend, and not their slave and fool. It's fascinating. Everything to come was already in images. To find their soul, the ancients went into the desert. The place of the soul is a lonely desert. The word is a creative act. The ancients said, "In the beginning was the word." Consider this and think upon it. The words that oscillate between nonsense and supreme meaning are the oldest and truest.